Well, I'm Butch's sister, and I want to let everyone know, he got the personality and I got the looks. I remember in August when Connie called me about having this anniversary, she was so thrilled. And the only problem we had was, how are we going to keep it away from him?
Yeah.
That was a struggle. So I had to tell a few fibs to him. He called me Friday, and I told him I was at work, but I was on my way here. And I just wanted to say that Butch and Sara is wonderful. I'm so glad that God chose Sara to be his wife, because look what he's had to put up with all these years. And if it wasn't for her, that woman wouldn't still be here. So, also when we were growing up, my brother told me that when I was born, his life ended. Because I was number one with my mom and dad. His life ended. So from then on, there wasn't Butch anymore. Now I call him Butch. Butch had many names. I know you call my Reverend Marvin, but I call him Butch. And so I was thinking last night, I thought, well, he lost all that attention because of me, so what did he do? He had to go be a preacher so he could get attention from everybody. He had to have a limelight. I took it away from him. So, she likes them. But I remember when he first went into ministry, he went to a town called Isabel, South Dakota. I told my mom, what is Isabel, South Dakota? No. So when we went out there, we were driving for hours and hours and hours, and we wouldn't see anything. And I told Mom, where are we going? We got to stop and get gas, or we're not going to get anything. And when we got there, we did go to Black Hills and did some other stuff while we were there. But I think Butch told me he's been in the ministry for about 41 years, I think. I think he started in Isabel, he'll have to correct me. You went to Bozu, your beautiful daughter Rachel was born there. And then Chapmanville. And Kevin was born while you were in Chapmanville, right? No? In Madison? Their wonderful son. And then Ben Harbor. And then you came here. So I think it's wonderful that the church want to do this for my brother. And it's a privilege that I'm here today. I'm so glad to be here to honor them today. And I have a song for them to sing today.
On the screen, or if you want to open your Bible, the Apostle Paul said, first rejoice in the Lord always. Again I say rejoice. Can you read verse 4 out loud with me? Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I will say rejoice. How can you rejoice in the Lord?
There with me, we walked upon the streets of gold beside the crystal sea. We heard the angels singing, then someone called your name. We turned and saw a young man, and he was smiling as he came. And he said, friend, you may not know me now. And then he said, but wait. You used to teach my Sunday school when I was only 8. And every week you would say a prayer before the class would start. And one day when you said that prayer, I asked Jesus in my heart. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am a life that was changed. Thank before you and said, remember the time a missionary came to your church and his pictures made you cry. You didn't have much money, but you gave it anyway. Jesus took the gift you gave, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am a life that was changed. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am so glad you gave. One by one they came, far as the eye could see. Each life somehow touched by your generosity. Little things that you had done, sacrifices made, unnoticed on the earth, in heaven now proclaimed. And I know up in heaven you're not supposed to cry, but I'm almost sure there were tears in your eyes as Jesus took your hand and you stood before the Lord. He said, my child, look around you. Great is your reward. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am a life that was changed. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am so glad you gave. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am a life that was changed. Thank you for giving to the Lord. I am so glad you gave. I am so glad you gave.
What an appropriate song. The senior Mr. Slagle is going to come now and say something. Pastor's father, Ralph.
My daughter just slipped to number 2. She helped me line this out, and guess what? She got up and said what I was supposed to say. She dropped to number 2. I've got a horse there all of a sudden. I got teared up like in my life. I just got 5 minutes. I have to give this time out. That pastor's talking about having 34 minutes. And me was 5, and I'm his father. was told if I went over 5 minutes, a rope would be put around my neck. So I don't know what I got left, Alan. Anyway, I can remember my wife telling me if Butch was going to be a minister. And I think I asked our prime minister, what's the country? Because and she said, no, I've been a preacher. So I got over that. I was not saved at the time. So I kind of got over it a little. The next thing I know, Butch has got a good job at Bethlehem Seal. Real good job, making good money, on salary, don't have to worry about strikes, the illegal strikes. Well, he got married in between that. I think he got married before that, before he went to Bethlehem, didn't he, Sarah? So then the next thing you know, he comes to my house. I always tell him every boy, he's sick good, a wonderful job. He's going to be a preacher. I can still remember asking Mary. I was raised a Methodist. I still remember this. I said, is he going to be a Methodist minister? She said, no. And I said, well, why didn't you take him to a Methodist church? And you guess what she said? You should have took him yourself. So anyway, he comes over to the house one day and tells me he's going to Isabel, South Dakota to be a minister. I don't think I was too happy, was I? I was very happy. But anyway, he went to Isabel. I got to get these names straight. Isabel. So I remember, well, David told Hart, but we were going there. He told me, now stop and get gas. You'll go for miles and miles and never see him. So I did that. And I still remember we met a car at night, and I seen a car lights way off. And I told Mary, I said, that's probably Indians coming after us. Got the Israel. What did happen? We got this big stuff. Huge town, 4 stores and a grocery store, but they had a newspaper. And they had paved roads, 2 streets, 2 blocks, wasn't it? 2 blocks. So dirt roads, the rest of it. Huh? Yeah, we had a good time fishing. He pulled a joke on me. We was fishing. I wasn't much of a fisherman. So where was we at? No. The time people was there fishing up toward Mobridge. I got it right. We was there fishing. So I caught a nice fish. And people was on the other side of the bank fishing. They see me get where they come over. And Butch tell them, say, hey, I got a nice bass. Or so I forget what it was, but it wasn't what it caught. So that made me look bad. But anyway, Daddy said he had many names. I'll have to say that. Let's see, it was Marvin, Roscoe, Danny, Butch. Am I missing one? That's it. My wife was when he did all that. Well, yeah, I did, but I remember she did the dance. Yeah, so anyway, we'd go to see him in Isabel. He lived in I'd say a little shack. Am I right?
He's been there.
He's been there. Would you call it a shack or?
Yeah, pretty much a shack.
Yeah.
So upgrade TV.
Where was I at?
I said it's an upgraded TV.
But anyway, we had a good time there. All this time I wasn't going to church to save. So then the next thing I know, I remember now, he liked it, but come March, they had a blizzard. For some reason, God told him to get out of there. So then he was in we went there, me and Mary, to keep, I don't know, well, Kevin wasn't born then, no. It was just Rachel. When they had us to come down and keep Rachel while you went to state convention or either assembly. And it was like a haunted house. Next morning, I see people walking through the yard. So I think some people out there stealing stuff. And then come to find out the people lived behind it, had no road, and they had to walk through. Remember, they had to walk through the yard. take anywhere. Well, there's more than one home meeting back then, and they all had to walk up through here. Yeah. What about this time? What's happening? I get every time. But anyway, where was I at? Both. Then he went to Chapman. We go there, and I always got a trailer room for about one person, and there was 4 of them living in it. It was 6 when we were there, and of course they had a little trailer with it. So then, I think I got saved along that time. Sometime we come down to see him, and he's building onto the church, building a house. So I went to the neighbor. The guy had the store next door. So I was talking to him, and he said, I don't know what's going on. He said, people hide from him in Chapmanville. I said, what do you mean? He said, he don't know nothing about building a house. They'll go and ask a carpenter or somebody working, what am I supposed to do next? This is true now, wasn't it? But I don't know how he ended up at a nice home there, right?
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, so.
Amen.
So then he went to, that's right, Benton Harbor. Nice brick home there. House got broken into. Those stuff got stolen. So then he come into, we was happy to come to Benton Harbor. It was close to where we lived in Indiana. It was an hour and a half drive. So then he left there. I know he went to work in between, but anyway, then he told me he's coming to Tennessee. Chapmanville, Tennessee. Yeah, I'm talking about Chapmanville. Okay, I'm confused. I'm getting nervous. Come to Elizabeth, we come here to see him. I was still working then, hadn't retired. He lives in a 4-room house. We're about 4 rooms. There's about 6 of us in that. Well, maybe Rachel was in services, was she?
Yes.
Okay, there was just 5 of us. Then they did get a parsonage. I'd have to say they did get him out of that. Built him a home. So I guess that's not all of it, but I would say that he's come a mighty long way.
Thank you, Ralph. We're going to do something a little different now. Kevin, his son's supposed to be here. He was here. But then he ate in Kentucky and got sick. And so he had to go to Ralph's house, and he's not feeling well. But I wish Kevin could have been here because he loves his dad. Kurt has got a video back in the back, so we'll watch this video for the next few minutes.
Congratulations from Arizona.
25 years of church service.
Good.
hello and congratulations from Washington, D.C. Congratulations on 25 years with Church of God of Prophecy Elizabethton / Heartland Fellowship. Enjoy your day of celebration. Love you. Bye.
Good morning, Brother and Sister Slagle. What a great day at Heartland Fellowship as they celebrate you and the years of pastoral ministry that God has given you. I'm in the Nashville area today and unable to be there in person, but I'm so excited about all that God is doing. I can remember my first visit at the Elizabethton Church on Park Street. Under your leadership, there was enthusiasm and excitement. The building was cram-packed, the little Sunday school rooms downstairs that held people to capacity. I can still see the overhead projector and the dynamic worship as we celebrated God. On the back wall, I believe, was the picture and the dream of a new sanctuary. God had birthed it in your heart, and people were joining you. It took leadership. It took you and Sara being consistently faithful and encouraging. God has a record of every mile you've traveled, of every prayer you've prayed, of every hug you've given. You have been faithful. Your pastoral leadership is honored and recognized today. You are such a great pair. I'm so glad I know you. I know it was God that blessed you. I know it was the faithful people of Heartland Fellowship that joined with you to accomplish all these things. But nothing happens by chance. When a man and a woman join together and dedicate themselves to God and to His kingdom and to His church, God blesses. You are honored today. You are recognized. I'm your friend, and I love and cherish you both. I pray it is a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless you. I look forward to hearing even greater things in the future.
Good morning, Pastor. Hope you're having a good day today. I wish we could have been there with you today to celebrate this special day, but just wanted to let you know that the Carter family loves you. We want to thank you so much for the kindness and friendship you've given our family over the years. And I want to thank you for the mentorship that you have given me and you're still giving me to this day. But most importantly, Pastor, I want to thank you for the integrity that you have walked all these years within your ministry. We love you. God bless you. Have a good day.
Glad to see this 25th year come around. I'd just like to say, Marvin, you've been more than just a pastor. You've been a good friend. And I really appreciate the many times that you've come to my aid and helped me. And I pray this will be a glorious day for you.
Amen, God.
Hi, Pastor. Connie and I would like to thank you for your ministry to us personally, and we're thankful for your prayers, your visits. We're thankful for your continued support. We're thankful for everything that you've done for us, and we congratulate you on 25 years of faithful ministry to the Lord, and we're just praying that God will continue to bless you and give you 25 more years at least, so that you could continue the ministry that you've begun. That's a blessing to us and everybody we know. So have a good day, and God bless, and we'll see you soon.
Amen.
Okay, this is going to be a little different. I've got two people, one on this side and one on this side, with microphones. And to save time and save you from stumbling and falling with nothing to hold on to up here, when I call your name, you've made me aware that you'd like to say some things. When I call your name, Would you please stand? And one of these gentlemen will bring you a mic, and you say what you want to say, and then we'll give it to somebody else. First one on the list is Teddy Carroll.
Oh, yeah. Just hold on, son.
Don't pull that paper out. You don't got it 2 minutes.
Memories. Bishop preached a good message this morning, and I'm glad to know that it'd be hard to follow him, but even more so, Brother Ralph Slagle. He took the stage today. We're honored to be here today. My wife is not with me, and I have a friend to help us drive through, but she wants to share her Thanksgiving, the love and fellowship that you showed her, the acceptance that you gave us the year we worked as mission representatives under Brother Slagle. We enjoyed this church. We enjoyed the fellowship, the visitation, Stony Creek, and so forth. But I have fond memories. Sister Debbie and Brother Ralph has covered some parts of Brother Slagle's mind and his life. And I have some good memories, and will not have time to get into all of them. But he has been a mentor to me. He's been an example of integrity. He's been someone that we have been together for several years in the church. Began to preach in 1962 as a teenager. Years later, we met Brother Slagle as State Youth Secretary of the state of West Virginia. And we was there as State Campground Superintendent under Brother Howard Hunt and several other overseers. Been ups and downs in all of our lives, but one writer said, if a man desires friends, he must first show himself friendly. Brother Slagle has been a friend. He's been a pastor. He's been a mentor. He's been an example of what a pastor, a biblical pastor, is all about. I couldn't keep up with him the years we were here in visitation. He was always ahead of me. I thought the hospital administrator was going to sue us. He used more of that cleanser. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Yeah, they had to rearrange the budget here at the local hospital to get more of that stuff shipped in. He knew how to use it. But as I close, the memories. I got up at 4:30 this morning, went to the computer at the motel, and I got the definition of the word simply memories, and that's what we're here today about. And the dictionary shows that the word memory is a noun, and the plural aspect of memories naturally would be memories. So we have memory of the good times, what it was about, but a spin-off of that is the wonderful memories we had as colleagues, as friends, as ministers of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So today, memories, according to the dictionary, is the capacity or the faculty of retaining and retrieving facts. He was good at theology, but outside of that, he couldn't remember nothing. Memory means that you can remember events, impressions, activities, etc., and the ability to recall and recognize past experiences. He couldn't do that. He forgot all about me sometime. But this man is a subject of my memories today. If the Lord does not rapture the body of Christ, I will take these to my grave, Pastor. The psalmist David said, I looked on my right hand one time in his life, and he said, no man would know me. Refuge failed me, and no man cared for my soul. For 25 years, this man has stood by your side. I remember the church over on Park Avenue, and And I saw you come here, and I've seen the growth and the stability, the deaconship, the membership. You've come so far. My time with you, my wife, who I love so much, and she made arrangements to want to come but couldn't come. But he's the subject of my short comments here today. Great memories, Bishop. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, he would expect me to say everything good, but I don't have time about that, but I can tell you a few things about bad and ugly. He's the only state youth director that had some of the greatest youth camp ministries, him and Sister Sara, in the state of West Virginia. That's the truth. I worked 5 years as superintendent of the campground, and we grew there, and we had to move military bunks. We didn't have sufficient campground, so we built a 2-story dormitory there that would hold it right there. So we'll stand up. I want you to stand up. Brother Hensley, stand up. Brother Hensley got saved, he just told me today. I did not know in that space of time. These kids not only attended camp, they worked hard. And I remember those days. God bless you. But a state youth director was in northern part of West Virginia one day, and Brother Slagle had been serving about 2 years, and was a place called Katy, West Virginia, and Brother Wakefield had built a new church there, had a big gathering, about 600-700 people, and it was time for the state youth secretary to come on the program, and they announced Pastor Slagle, state youth director. Everybody looked around and he wasn't there. Really, the silence just for a few moments just to make it work right. All of a sudden, the sanctuary was just a large rectangular situation, hold 400 or 500. And all of a sudden, visualize this with me as I close, the back doors of the sanctuary burst open. And here comes our state youth director. And that year for our youth camp, he had a Western theme for all of our campers coming in. I did all the physical work, he got all the credit. We moved more Army beds with this guy on that little campground. We put campers under the state overseer's parsley. We put them outside the bathroom buildings, wherever we could get the campers. And he was one of the greatest boosters, Pastor. And I told you this privately, you and Sister Sara, that we had in the state of West Virginia. But here, all of a sudden, the doors burst open. Here comes Pastor Slagle, just a young man, fighting sassy. He's still sassy, don't have much fighting in him anymore, maybe. He still outworks me. But here he comes. In those days, the big foam cowboy hats, the big things you can go buy as for carnival and stuff, here he comes. Western theme. In between his legs was a stick horse that I played with. The hair on that stick horse was more hair on his head. Him and Brother Ralph, his father, was supposed to leave their hair in the wheel for me so I could transplant it. I love it. I love that hair. But here he comes with a big hat. You can visualize this, Debbie. He had the horse. He had a set of guns, cowboy guns, big red holsters on both sides. He comes down, he's getting up to go. He comes down that long aisle, and he gets up on the podium, and he's got our attention naturally. He got our attention, and what a great boost he gave us. And so it was under this man's administration and his wife, the records will show, historically, Brother Hunt, Brother Allen Brantley that came through there, you guys built the camping ministry. We go back farther than that, but it's under you. But thank you. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being my confidant, my counselor. I love you. I love the people in this body. proud of you. You've come a long way. But if Alan, I loved Alan, but I don't know about today, because if I run out of paper, I run out of time, brother. I'll finish next time around. God bless you. It's an honor and a privilege. God bless you, Brother McKenzie, and all you.
I'm going to take that clock down off the wall back in the back. Because I'm going to be a hard time living this down. Next person on the list is Dennis Hensley.
Brother Teddy, I can remember those camp days. I was Limpy the Lion and Big Bird.
That's what you complaining about.
The times were kind of tight, weren't they? I've been blessed to serve as a pastor twice at Chapman of the Way. They've been good pastors and good fruit.
Our friends from Florida, Brother Dave Stafford. No. I can't use that word.
It's okay? Don't worry. I didn't mind the mic. It doesn't matter that I'm from Alabama, Florida, all points south, because in reality I'm from England. I sound English, I look English, but these days I identify as being a Filipino. Which, although it sounds humorous, is in fact the truth, because I'm involved in a ministry in the Philippines and it's become my passion and my heart. You are about to see the second modern day miracle today. The first one was Bishop keeping to his time frame this morning, and the second one, I assure Alan, I will be well under my time. I was introduced to Marvin and Sarah because of Carl and Connie Royer. I had met them standing in line one Friday morning at the revival at Brownsville. And out of that friendship, they invited Margie and I to come and spend some time with them here, or at their home, and at Rome Mountain. And as a result of that, of course, we had to meet their pastor. And so at that point, Marvin and I were introduced, and I have to say, it's been a fantastic relationship. You really are a very quality person, Marvin. Quality. I have lots of stories, none of which I'm about to tell, which is not a bad thing. I will share this little nugget of truth. Because of Marvin, I was introduced to that incredible hero of American television, Andy Griffith. And it was this relationship with this man that introduced me and Margie to Andy Griffith, and we had a fantastic journey back and forth, going over to North Carolina, Mount Airy, I believe is where we went. It was, to put it mildly, a very underwhelming experience. It was only on the way there that it was revealed I didn't even know who Andy Griffith was. And so this fantastic day out was heading south by the second. And so, having been moved to being totally underwhelmed, I really felt like I wanted to leave North America at that point. Nothing to do with Andy Griffith, and everything to do with Marvin Slagle. But some people will say, thank God that God had different ideas. And so I've survived that trip to Mount Airy, where I didn't have a clue what was happening, who Andy Griffith was, the fact that certain of the museums were closed on the day that they took me. I mean, how deep a hole do we need to dig here? But because of my pastoral gift, we'll just leave it at that. Marvin, I had selected a card for you. And of course, you and Sarah are synonymous. It's Marvin and Sarah, it's Sarah and Marvin, because you are a fantastic team. And so we applaud you for your marriage, and you are a person of integrity. As I've said, you are a quality person. And I'm going to bring it into land now, but you heard Bishop say that on numerous occasions this morning. This card, when I saw it, really just spoke to me about some of your character traits, your qualities that God has placed within you and refined. And it says on the front, faith, strength, patience, and hope. And you have exhibited them all the time that I've known you, and clearly all the time here. When I first arrived to meet you, you were still at the other location, and you have demonstrated to your flock your faith, your strength, your patience, and your hope. You are truly a pastor with a pastor's heart who wants to see your people developed into their relationship with Jesus, into their walks with Jesus, into their destinies with Jesus. Your ministry has been one of setting people on a path of encounter with the living God. You don't want your people just to turn up on a Sunday or a Wednesday and just hear you preach. You want them to be self-feeders. You want them to walk the walk that Christ has called them to be. And that can't be said of many, many pastors. Many pastors, unfortunately, grow a little bit too big for their real ministry. And you've never done that. You are a man of faith. You have demonstrated day in and day out for 25 years in this congregation your strength. You've had enough people come through that it certainly has tested your patience. And yet, through all of that, you've never given up hope. This that we're sitting in today is the fabrication of the hope that you knew your congregation would grow into this spiritually, through maturity, organically, and maybe not yet numerically, but that is still yet to come. And we're going to give you the card, but this is what it says inside. Dear Marvin, we celebrate you on your dedication and service to the body of Christ. You're a marvelous example of a caring shepherd to the flock that God has given you. Congratulations, good and faithful servant. We love you, Marvin, and you, Sarah.
I'm going to skip a few people. I will come back to you. One of our deacons has got to leave at 2 o'clock, and we want to speak to the pastor in behalf of the church. Will all the deacons come up here?
Bless the Lord.
These men standing behind you love you because you're family. And through your leadership, Brother Dave is right. You're sitting in an auditorium today because of the vision this man had. Because he kept coming back to the deacons and the board, the treasurer, and said, we're going to build a church. So we, behind his back, would say, we got to slow him down. We don't have the money. I mean, he was finding places that I didn't even know existed. I lived here. So he found this piece of property. We didn't even know it. I didn't know it existed. And I got cousins that live on out the road, and I went by. I didn't know this place was for sale. And he'd asked the guy that owned it. I don't know how he found out who owned it. And then he came to us and said, "We got to have a meeting." He said, "I found some property." He ran into the guy at the grocery store. A couple of years later, brother, 2 years later, and said, "You still want to sell that property over there? Have you thought about it?" He said, "Yes, I do. I want to sell it." And here comes the preacher and said, "Come on, come on, come on." Well, this is all we got. It's paid for. We don't know anything. We got a pavilion up here. We just bought a storage trailer out here, right here outside the door. It's paid for. We don't know anything except the insurance and light bill and the water bill. Can we thank the Lord for that? Well, we appreciate Sarah and the pastor so much. There's no way that we could express those words. But we'd like to give you a gift, Pastor, on behalf of the church.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Please. Yes.
Bless you, Lord. You're welcome. There ain't nothing in it.
It must have been a mistake. Steve, you got all the money? Lester, you got all the money? No. You got all the money? We're going to give you some.
We pay for this church. We ain't got any money.
All the money. Steve, you got any?
I got some.
Give it to. Yeah, count what you got. See if we can find the money.
Thank you.
Wow.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
There's part of it. You got any listen? I got a little money.
My goodness.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Thank
No,
you.
you can't.
Yeah, this is well.
Give me a pack of that. Get Sarah a pack of that. I've got some money too.
Thank you.
How much is that?
25. Thank you. I appreciate it.
$100 for every year that he's been here.
Thank you.
I'm the deacon that has to leave at 2 o'clock, so I got a couple of quick stories about the pastor. One's funny and one's serious. I'll tell the funny one first. About a year ago, Kathy and I had been to the pastor's house, and if you've ever been to his house, or even if you hadn't, you probably know that he has chickens. And he has a chicken coop. So Kathy and I were there for a while. We were visiting, and they had company. And I think it was some relatives of yours, Sarah, a mother and a daughter. Okay. So we left, and we hadn't been gone 5 minutes, and my cell phone rings, and it's the pastor, and he says, "Steve, can you come back to my house?" And I said, "Well, sure, Pastor. What's wrong? What do you need?" He said, "Well, I just need you to come back to the house." So I get back to the house, and the pastor has locked himself in the chicken coop. Well, that's not the whole story. I had to go let him out of the chicken coop, and he was in the chicken coop with a woman named Sugar. And now for the serious story. Kathy and I were married on March the 4th of 2006. And my father passed away from lung cancer a month and 2 days later, on April the 8th of 2006. In that month, when my dad went in the hospital, he was at the Johnson City Medical Center. That's when I met the pastor. Because he came to the hospital to visit with my dad on his deathbed. And that's how I met him. And he must have come at least 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times within a week to see my dad. And I'll never forget that. That's why I started coming to church here. And I'm one of the lives you touched and changed. And I love you, Pastor.
Amen.
I guess I had the first contact at church with Brother Slagle when he first came to be our pastor. The Elizabethan church at that time, Brother McKenna, I don't think you'd had 5 pastors applying for pastor at our church in those days. Not at Elizabeth. So you know what it's like. So I think in the space of about 6 or 7 years, I think we had 4 pastors. So we weren't the ideal church to come to. And the first miracle, I guess, that happened when Brother Slagle agreed to come there, he actually came to the church and looked at it and still came. Then, and the pastor, he told me one time, he came and looked at it and he still was willing to come. So it was truly, he was seeing.
Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Amen. Amen. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nick.
When he first came, he came, he brought a sense of awareness to us. So he came in, and I was a treasurer, and he has a famous story about me. I had offered my resignation to the first 4 of those pastors, too, by the way. Anyway, he came, and first thing he said to me, he said, "They changed that front door." I said, "What's wrong with that door? It works." "No, we need to get a nicer door." So I worked at a place that had doors. I got a nice door. We put a nice entrance door up there and stained everything, got it looking nice. And then at one meeting, he was talking to us there at church, and he said, "What is that bent flagpole out front?" And we looked at each other and said, "What flagpole?" There was a flagpole in front of our church that was bent. And we, I guess, like the frog in the water, we were there in the environment. We didn't pay attention to it. So we finally got that flagpole down, didn't we? Bent flagpole in front of the church. And then Sister Lorna was talking about our basement. I always called it the dungeon. Because you went down some steps that's about that wide, and half of my feet would always stick over and went down them. And we got down there, and we didn't do it, but some prior people had framed some wood in against earth down there, and it was termites and things like that. So Brother Slagle got started digging around. Long story short, he and Nancy's mama, Margie, poured concrete down there. and we also fixed a part of it down there. And actually, when I taught Sunday school down there, the ceiling was about 6'2". I'm having to teach Sunday school standing with my head cocked up. I couldn't even stand up straight now. So we got to look at that, and we got some chainsaws, and we cut a hole in the back and put a door down there through his leadership. And we had to restrain one guy who started cutting one of the main beams with a chainsaw. And calm down. We stopped that. We renovated the basement down there and got it semi-presentable. And then it just kind of show you, when God sends somebody, He sends a sense of awareness to Him to,
Amen.
You know, none of you people here, except for Kathy and Carolyn and Pam and Johnny and Debbie, that's probably the only original people that's here, and Kurt when he came. So all you folks came later because of him. So we've been blessed, and we told him. My wife, he wanted to bring some dessert back from the state convention to her from City Cafe dinner, and she sent him back. Don't send dessert. Just come back for another 25 years. Thank you. Thank you.
The first time I ever met the pastor, I had a pontoon boat for sale. The pastor and Ralph and Darrell Reese came to look at it, you know, so they came out and I guess they decided they'd buy the daggone thing. So anyway, they took it home and they had a real deal with that pontoon boat. So anyway, if you ever go out with a pastor, go out to visit or anywhere, you go to the hospital, you remember Speedy Gonzales, you know, it takes 3 people to keep up with it. You think you're going to a fire and he's going to get the hose. It's really good. Anyway, I've known him for quite a while. I love him to death, and I would say that. Amen.
All right, thank you, brother. We'll continue on with the other people. And Steve, you can go to. Don't go to Kentucky. Okay, I will reserve my time later because I'm keeping the time. Right. Okay, Sister Connie.
Yeah. Never appears. You will receive the crown of glory that will never fade away. We are God's flock, but we're under your care. Both of you embody this scripture. You willingly care for us. You were there when we have a need. I wonder how many hours, Pastor, you have spent in hospital waiting rooms over 25 years. I wonder how many funerals you've attended in 25 years. And you aren't just there for us in hard times. You both rejoice when we have a new job, a new car, a new baby, and we have been blessed in some way. You rejoice with us. And most important to me is you don't just minister to each of us, but to our extended families as well. 16 years ago, my brother came by ambulance from a hospital in New York to the Bristol Hospital. And you knew, Pastor, that he was a Roman Catholic. But you took it upon yourself to call the Catholic priest in Elizabethton and tell him about my brother being in the hospital. And because of that call, the Catholic priest came and ministered to my brother, and he was blessed, and I was blessed because you blessed him. And Sarah, over the same 16 years, you used to take things to him and give him little things to make him feel special and cared for. You even baked cookies in the shape of locomotives because you knew that he loved trains. I imagine that everyone in this room could give a testimony about the extended families that you minister to, and that means so much to us. Lastly, that scripture calls for the shepherds in the flock to be an example to the flock. And Paul said, "Follow my example as I follow Christ." Pastor, you and Sarah wholeheartedly follow the example of Christ. You willingly pour out your lives to serve other people. We are a blessed flock to be under your care. Amen.
The church where we were going to closed down. We had had 5 churches in 5 years, and the devil was chomping on our marriage. Pastor gave me his testimony as he was battling cancer with the bone. And I told my husband that I didn't know if he was going to be my husband in a year. I gotta hear him preach. So that Sunday we went to church. Pastor wasn't good enough to preach, couldn't even preach, he was too sick. So I said, we gotta go back. And we went back. You watched our grandchildren grow. You've baptized them. You've loved them. You've come from here to Nashville to hospitals for our family. From here to Charlotte for our family. I can't tell you how much we love you.
Glory be to God.
You make me want to be a better person just being around you.
Praise God.
We love you, Pastor and Sarah.
Kurt Glover.
Okay, I'm going to try not to get emotional. I'm going to try not to get long-winded. So, here we go. But I am very fortunate to have been with the pastor all 25 years in some capacity. I'm aging myself a little bit here. But whenever he first came to our church 25 years ago, I was 7 years old. And at about that time, I had some health issues with my leg. And I remember one of my first memories of the pastor, I was in traction, y'all. I had my leg up in this contraption. I had weight pulling down on my leg. And I was homeschooled for a couple of weeks. And Mom and Dad were working. They couldn't watch me. And the pastor came over, and his son Kevin came over, and Kevin came over and was playing video games with me. The pastor made me barbecue chicken and hung out with me. And that's one of the first memories I ever had of Pastor Slagle. And it was a very good first impression. I was like, this is a good guy. I like this guy. But the pastor has been with me through so many milestones in my life.
Hold it closer to your mouth.
Hold it up. Okay.
There you go.
So many different milestones in my life. He's been there for me. And, I remember in high school always being a mentor and a friend. And then whenever I was 18 years old, I remember a conversation outside of the old parsonage building where he asked me, what do you think about youth ministry? And I was like, sounds good, about 10 years. And he's like, how about sooner than that? Pray about it. And whenever the Pastor Slagle tells you to pray about something, you better pray about it because he's got something in mind. And here it is 14 years later and still blessed to be in that capacity. And it's because of his leadership and because of his guidance that I was allowed to do that. But I want to backtrack a second. You hear about the hospital visits and all the stuff that he does. And whenever I was in 8th grade, I had my appendix taken out. And Pastor and Sara came by to visit before I went into the operating room. And the nurses there mistook him for being my grandfather. He was not happy about that because it was only a couple of years between him and my dad. So he was not happy about that. And I remember going with him to the cafeteria, and they offered him a senior discount when he was when he was of age of that, and he was highly upset about that. But throughout life, he's been there for me. He was there for me when I was in traction as a 7-year-old kid. He was there for me whenever I was under the operating table. He was there with me as I graduated high school. He was there with me to encourage me to step into youth ministry. He was there with me when I graduated from college. He was there with me when I graduated from grad school. He was praying with me whenever I got a job out in the middle of nowhere, teaching high school. Didn't know that was where God had called me, but that's where God had called me. And he's going to be there for me when I get married. And just love you both, and I appreciate you both. Thank you.
Earl Reese.
Hey, Daryl. I'm kind of bashful, but I thought I'd do it. But I thought it was going to be a roast. Y'all didn't tell me. I can say Pastor is more than a friend. He's really been there for us for everything. And unreal. Anytime you call him in the middle of the night, went with me to Pennsylvania to bury my grandmother, on and on and on. And I've seen sides of preacher y'all never seen. Remember your surgery? Anyway, he has kidneys. But anyway, no, we've had a lot of. My dad always told me, he said, hang out with good people, and you better yourself. So him and Ralph and myself, we got together, got us a boat and everything, and I mean, we had a good time. But anyway, I had to go in front of a judge over that. I had never been to court, and I wore my shorts, Well, you can't wear shorts to court. Well, I figured preacher, one of them would know it. But anyway, so they gave me a pair of pants fit this way up. And I had to pull them up to my knees to cover my legs. And here I was waddling in the church, preacher dying laughing, and preacher said, let me go get my camera, which I know where it would be. And so I said, no. But anyway, I didn't go to court. I didn't go to jail. But I've been to prison with him. One time we went, and I remember this, the warden come out there and said, what are you guys going to do? And preacher said, well, we're going to sing some songs, and we're going to witness, and so on like that. And the warden said, can I make a request? Pastor said, sure you can. He said, don't sing I'll Fly Away. The preacher's been closer to me than a friend, really has. Like I said, I've seen the other side of him. He's been strict and everything else, but he's really been a cut up with me, and I love him and Sarah with all my heart, and all his family. And love him.
Steve Green. Right up here in front.
I don't know how you guys know him. I know him as Butch. I've been here, my mom's been here since the little church started. I really don't want to, but I will. Butch has been with our family through any major crisis we've ever had. When we first got here in '93, my grandfather was dying. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the first person that Butch got to. It wasn't Butch, it was the Lord. He helped my grandfather get saved before he died. Sure, yeah. That's the best thing I can thank you for. Many times through my life, I've known him every 24 years since he's been here. He was with me. He held me through it. Praise God. One time I hurt my knee, and I told him I needed help. Well, he wrote me a check. And I I still got that check in my Bible. And Mark took the money, didn't make the money. I told him, I said, that's what I want. It ain't me. But somebody have faith in me. He did. I still got that check in the bookmark.
Praise God, praise God.
And there's my mom wrecked card, my dad died, my grandma died. He's always been there for us. He, like you say, he's a shepherd over our flock. I've not been here much lately, but I was here at that basement that Lester talked to. Lester, you've been here forever, brother. I appreciate it. But it was a little dungeon. But Marvin, come here, like you said, with a vision and a dream. And this is it. All these people sitting here, this is it. And I hope there's a lot more to come. Because there's not a finer example than you. Brother Slagle is his name, but to me, you'll always be blessed. And I appreciate everything you've done for my family and me. And let me know my best friend right here, your dad. I love you and appreciate you.
Kevin, how you feel?
I'm feeling better.
You wanna speak? You wanna say something?
Yeah, I guess I will.
You don't have to come up here.
Okay.
RV? Swap mics with me. Send mics on down.
Keep it down.
Well, how you guys doing? I'm doing better. I don't know what it was, just came over me today and didn't feel very good, but I'm doing better now. But anyways, you guys here in this town know my dad pastoring, because I've been living up north, so I know there's all kinds of stories that I haven't even heard, but growing up with him, I've seen from town to town the lives that he's helped influence and be there and guide and be faithful with the church, and just real blessed to have him as a father. I'm not a pastor myself, but being raised in a family of love definitely imbues that into you as you grow up, and you carry that with you. So even though I'm not him, I'm not pastoring, there's still a part of him that's in me no matter what, and just being dad and being pastor. So just want to thank you, Lord, and thank you guys for everything you've done for our family and for everyone else's family. So thank you.
Amen.
Joe, you want to say something?
Yeah, let me say something. All right. I've been in the family for about 5-6 years now. A little over 3 years ago, unfortunately, my first time ever in the hospital, I had quadruple bypass surgery in Illinois. Guess who showed up the next day? He was there. He was there. He didn't have time to stay. He had to get back to church. He stayed enough to talk to me for a little while. I don't remember if he even slept overnight or not. And he left right away. That was it. So I'm just blessed to be in the family with Marvin and Debbie and Ralph and Kevin, everybody. And I love this church too. One of my favorite people is Daryl.
How much did he pay you to say that?
Amen. Thank you.
Smart guy.
Josh? Yeah. Is this mic on?
Yes.
Yes. Is it?
The Bible says, call upon the name of the Lord, and you shall be saved. But how will you call upon one that you not believe? And how will you believe unless you hear? And how will you hear except from a preacher? And how will you preach unless he be sent? And I thank God for him sending you to my life. And God placed something in my heart. He placed a passion for those that were broken in addiction, those that were suffering. And it was such a mighty calling. It was such a mighty mountain that was before me. And I said, God, how can I move this mountain? And he said, my people And it took a man of God like you to give me the inspiration to keep answering God's call, to keep answering God's call, to go to that one that was broken, to go to that one that was hurting. And I thank God for you, Pastor. It's your love that has inspired me to reach the darkness in our community and help those that are in need. And what mighty footsteps to follow. I praise the Lord for you being in my life, and I praise the Lord for you too, sister.
Amen.
Okay, that's all the people I have on the list. If anybody else would like to say something to the pastor, it's 2:15. Then he'll be around after.
Can I say something?
I haven't had my time.
Oh,
okay. Nancy, you wanted to say something? No, give her the mic.
I've been going to church here all my life. We've had some wonderful ministers over the years, but none more caring and none with a greater heart for the lost than Brother and Sister Slagle. I love them, appreciate them.
Bless you.
My brother became an alcoholic. And very long story. Brother Slagle wrote with them. Lester and my sister-in-law 2 times to rehab, to take him. And he ministered so much to my brother and my brother's just 2 years older than me, so we were very close. And my brother Slagle was along with the Lord responsible for my brother being in heaven today. Amen. Back to the Lord, and he only lived 2 or 3 minutes after he gave his heart back to the Lord. I know the Lord had to take him because John just couldn't make it. He just couldn't, and I know he's there today. I thank you for that. And I aspire to be more like our pastor's wife, such a godly woman, so caring, and. I guess I'm not going to be able to say anything else because I can't talk about my mother yet. But Brother Slagle, I preached my father's funeral, my mother, and my brother. And Brother Slagle had taken my mother, some of you know this, but not all of you. He had taken my mother, one of her favorite strawberry milkshakes to the nursing home. And she just enjoyed them so much. He took her flowers and syrup, brought her things. And I was up in church. I was up in front of church one Sunday. I think I was in charge of Mother's Day program or something. And I said, well, I sure hope I don't have to wait till I'm 90 and in the nursing home for someone to bring me a little strawberry milkshake. So the next day at work, I was sitting there in my office just working away. I could see somebody coming through the door. And I looked up, and it was my pastor with the biggest, tallest strawberry.
Amen. Amen.
I hope you've enjoyed this. I want to thank everybody that had a part in putting it together.
Can I say something real quick?
We haven't got enough time for you to talk.
I'll be real fast. Pastor Slagle and Sara.
No, don't give her the mic.
Pastor Slagle and Sara have been there with my family for Lord, as long as I can remember. And Pastor preached over my brother and my mother and dad, all 3. And each time you call him, it doesn't make any difference what time of the day or night, he'd be right there, and most of the time Sarah would. And I remember one time, I had an ingrown toenail. He liked to kill me, but he got it out of there.
one of the old ones at the church. I was in the dungeon, you know, and we, like Nancy said, we've had some amazing pastors, but we hit a jewel, and I will never forget this, and I'm still in awe of this. About 10 years ago, I'm a miracle, walking miracle. And I was in hospital, and they didn't give me but a 10% chance of living. And I am a walking, talking miracle. And Brother Slagle is the only pastor I've ever known to call the hospital and talk to me. I don't remember talking to him because I had brain surgery. But he called me on a Sunday morning at church, during church, and talked to me, asking me how I was feeling while I was in the hospital. And he also done that recently to Sister Connie, to her husband Ronnie. And that is something that is so precious to me that that he did that. And Sarah, she is so precious. And I just want to tell him I love him and I thank him for everything.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. What?
I promise I'll be really short. We've been coming to church here for about 4 months now. We attended one church for about 18 years. And Sean and I have talked at length about how, not just you, Michael, I mean, these people are here, and I believe that what she said about you making her want to be a better person every day was spot on.
Amen.
I feel the exact same way. And the love that we felt, and the it's a community. It's not just, it's a body, but it's more than that. It's people care. People talk to you. And all the time I went to the church before, I never was invited to the pastor's house the way you did within the first 3 weeks that I came here. And just, I know I'm not a member of the church yet, but I want to say that there's something here under your leadership that it's Jesus. Just plain and simple, and I appreciate you for living that to these people because they live it too.
You're what a pastor's supposed to be.
Amen. Well, let's call him my name.
Yeah, hang on a minute.
Where?
Right here.
Oh,
Believe it
sure.
or not, it's me.
Okay, sure.
I just want to say that I've been in church all my life. And I've had many preachers. I've sat under many preachers. But Pastor Slagle is truly a pastor.
Amen.
He has a pastor's heart. And Sarah, and I'm thankful for that.
Amen.
Now, what am I going to say? You just
Can I sing a song?
No. Okay. Yeah. A lot's been said about the pastor, and everything that's been said is true. This man has a heart, the heart of Christ.
Amen. Amen.
It has been my pleasure.
I guess 24 years.
Okay. This is not working?
Don't have the mic at the blue mic. How about the blue mic?
He's gone.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure to be a friend and a member of this church. This man has taught me so much. And he's been an example for all of us. You've heard that in this church. You've heard that from people today. Everybody had almost the same thing to say about the pastor, what a loving pastor he is. And I love this man more than Webster could have ever come up with the words. And also, love this woman right here. Because we have mentioned the pastor all day, but we haven't said anything about Sarah, not much. But Sarah broke my heart one night. I haven't told this to anyone. Jim and I went to a funeral, and Sarah was sitting by herself. And it was somebody who was not a member of our church, but somebody that we knew. So we went in, and Sarah was sitting by herself. So we went over and said, "Can we sit with you, Sarah?" She said, "Yeah, I'm so glad to have somebody sit with me." She said, "You know, the pastor's wife, we go to funerals and we sit by ourselves. We go to church and sit on the front row by ourselves." She said, "It's not that the women don't care for me and don't love me, but she said a pastor's wife is different." And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Sarah, we love you so much. And we do love you. We thank you for 25 years of leadership for the women in this church, that you've been an example for them. And you have a heart that's made of gold.
Amen.
Pastor, you've taught me so much. And I appreciate that. And I love you. And I'll tell you one thing, I could tell you a lot, but I'm not going to take it. I don't have that much time to do it. Right. But Pastor and I have a lot of experiences together. I'll just leave it at that. But this man, June and I, my wife, we both had triple bypass within 5 days of each other. And we were in intensive care at the same time. And then we were in rehab. This man was there for us the whole time. I've been to churches, hospitals with him, and I'm like Kelsey said, if roller skates can't keep up with him, roller skates, he's gone, and we used to go to a lot of places. We've been to Dallas, we've been to Florida, we've been to South Carolina. We've been to a lot of places. Get out of the car by the time I get out and get the door locked, and he's halfway to the restaurant. And so one time I stopped, and he got to the door and he turned around and said, "Brother Allen, you all right?" I said, "Yeah, brother." I said, "Just go on in and get a table." I said, "Because I know you don't want anybody to know I'm with you. If you did, you'd slow down." But this man has given all for this church. In fact, he even got locked up one Sunday morning with handcuffs, brother. Well, you find out about children. But he was given a message, and he was right in the middle of it, and he was really going, and he went down to the sheriff's office and got a set of handcuffs.
Yeah.
And he locked them up. He had the handcuffs on, and he was talking about how Satan can lock you up. And you need the key's Jesus to get open. So he gets the key out of his pocket, and the handcuffs won't open. And he's right in the middle of his sermon. And he tried, and by that time the people in the church is down in the pews, and he's trying to get these handcuffs off. And it just happened when we had a deputy sheriff in the back of the church that had a set of keys. Right, and he came up, and finally he called him and said, "You don't happen to have a key to fit these, do you?" So he came up and got him out of the handcuffs. So anyway, I got one more tell. So can I tell one more? Yeah, I think so. He's been an example for me. He likes to use physical objects when he preaches, to get your attention. So this church gave us over to the old church now, gave us a baptism. It's on wheels. You roll it in and fill it up with water, and then baptize and you drain it out. So we was over to the old church and pulled it up in the front, and I sat on the front pew. And he said, "Brother Allen, you help me when we get to baptize this lady." And she was she ate a lot. I don't remember who it was.
My grandmother.
Daryl's grandmother. Yeah, and anyway, I said, what do I have to do? He said, just help me take the top off this thing. He said, right here. And that's all you have to do. I said, you gonna wet me? He said, no. I said, okay. So I sat down. He said, Brother Allen, I helped him get the top off, and I sat down right in front of him. And he took that lady, and this is the first time we'd used it. And he didn't allow for the wet. He filled it up to the top. And he dumped her in the water come out of the top of that thing. Wet me from my knees down. And the water ran down into this basement, this dungeon they were talking about. He spent the rest of Sunday evening sucking up water with a vacuum cleaner so he can't change. So I told him, I said, Pastor, I ain't sitting over here no more. So I go over on the other side of the church on the front row. And I'm sitting over there by myself. And the next Sunday, he gets his big bath towel, had a big bucket of water, and he dipped that bath towel down in that water. And it was just soaking wet. And he was talking about how Satan gets you, and how he just twists and twists and twists, and he was wringing all the water out of that towel. And I'm sitting there taking it all in because I really watch him, So he comes over in front of me, and he goes, stuck that towel right in my face, and 2 gallons of water hit me in the face. Grabbing my glasses, I couldn't even see him. And he left almost as much water in that towel as he wrung out. I got the rest of it. I could go on and on, but I'm not. I just want you to know, brother, I love you. I mean that.
I know it's been a long day, and I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for the food. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my wife, Sarah. And the ministry has been her now together. I may be the one up front, but she's the one behind the scenes that helps me. I want to just explain one thing. How many knows Connie Isaac? Everybody knows Connie Isaac. I found out a couple years ago why she is like she is. Now you heard Ted Carroll here today, right? He's unusual. Well, she's unusual, but the reason is they were raised on the same holler in West Virginia, Cabin Creek. Is that correct? She doesn't tell too many people that, but I know it. God bless you. Thank you for the nice offering. Thank all that you do. And I pray this for God's glory here today because it's all about Him. But Richard, you want to say anything?
Just say goodbye, he says. I got this hangnail right here. I'll let you don't mind. Sister, this is my lovely wife. Give her back.
I just want to say that the Methodist lost is our game. I would like to say something about Sarah. My husband is he's a bishop of around 125, 26 churches in Tennessee, and not every pastor's wife casts the same vision with their husband as Sarah does. And I know you know what a great shepherd's heart she has. There's ministers coming on now that wants to pastor in Tennessee. My husband, they can read a book, they can go to seminars and learn how to put a sermon together, how to put programs together in their churches, how to look really nice in a suit. But they cannot have a shepherd. You can't teach anyone to have a shepherd's heart. They don't. And this couple does. But I want to say also on Sarah, pastors' wives had a getaway in December
where we ask pastors' wives to come in, and it's just everything is for them. And Sara has ministered so much in these retreats to younger women that are coming on and are pastors' wives now. The least little thing she hears them say, she'll jump up and always try to make a positive to anything that is said to help them along the way. And when she had her stroke, we were devastated in this state, the pastor's wives. We really got down and began to pray for her because we knew we were going to lose a great one. And I want to say to you, Sarah, how much I love you, how much I appreciate you pouring into these younger pastors' wives and your pastor's wife. And I appreciate your spirit so much.
I'm just going to say this and give the microphone back. I want to know about this sugar that was used locked up in there. It's been on my mind ever since I heard that. But anyway, it's actually been said twice, and then Sister read the scripture a little bit earlier that kind of encapsulates what everybody has been saying. And when you said that, someone in the back of the room said that. My wife and I were sitting here, and when she got to that part, I said, that's it. That's what it's all about. And she said, Pastor, you live a life that makes me want to live a better life.
Amen.
And I think that's what ministry comes down to. We can't save anybody. Only God can do that. But we're there to try to help people. But when you live such a life that other people want to do better, just being around you makes them want to do better. I feel the same way. And I think that encapsulates what everybody did. I said, I love you. And Sister Sarah, I love you too. But if I was you, I'd be upset about sugar.
We have one more thing to do, Pastor. We have one more thing. Sherry's got something to present to Sarah. We just wanted to remember you, Sarah.
Now, before you leave, you're going to be talking about Sugar. Now, Sugar is your cousin's daughter. They were visiting. She wanted to check out the chickens, so she put me in the chicken coop, and the wind blew, the door shut. So there's nothing happened. Sugar is her name, and with the chickens and Steve.
You may meet Sugar someday. She's wanting to move to Tennessee. She's right now living in Florida. And I've always said it's not hard to love people that love you. And I feel your love. And it's not hard to love people that love you.
Thank you. As we finish, I want to thank my son being here today from Indiana, and his wife, and my granddaughter. Come here, Bobby. You like Tennessee?
Yeah.
You like Indiana better?
That's a hard one, isn't it?
You like your mom and dad's good to you, aren't they?
Yeah.
Good. Good right there. Amen. And my sister and her husband. And I appreciate the people from New Jersey being here. But Chris Bell and his family, God bless you. Glad you traveled back and all that you've done here. Thank you for all this. And Brother Kelsey still here? Did he leave? He called me up about 2 weeks ago and said, I hope you'll be here another 25 years. And I'm thinking in my head, I'll be 93. And then when he introduced his sister at the convention, I kept my mouth shut. I'm 7 years old still. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. God bless you.
If you can, stay.